the capture age view. Just load in that. And it's always a little bit strange when it's a mirror match, because like sometimes when it's different civs, you can talk about like counter units and stuff like that. But when it's a mirror match, it's kind of almost comes down to pure execution. Obviously, you can try to like counter what your opponent is doing in terms of what their units they're building, but then your opponent can do the same thing. So it's always a fine balance there. Hiya, Black Waltz, how you doing? And yeah, looks like Vertex is going to be the first to the center of the map. I feel like, if I'm remembering correctly, it feels like it's been a while since I've streamed an Unrestricted game. But he tends not to like go for the middle of the map. Ooh, oh god, Vertex, what have you done, my friend? Is this going to be a re? Is he going to lose the villager? Vertex likes to live dangerously. I was going to say that Unrestricted doesn't tend to go for the gamble in the middle of the map, because like if you go late and your opponent's taken the elephants, then you kind of waste a lot of time. But as I said that, he has actually sent a villager forward pretty late there. I think, yeah, so these are, so actually he's got a little bit lucky that those, because there's the center elephant and then there's like the outer ring center elephant. So he's got a little bit lucky there that one of those was on the way to the middle. And when I play, usually I try to go to the center and then come back a slightly different way to increase the chance of finding elephants. He just found his own one there. But which looks like Unrestricted is doing, but unfortunately he's chosen to go down the bottom way instead of the top way, so he probably isn't going to find that other elephant. And did we lose the villager? What happened there? Oh no, that's one of his home villagers. Elephant, sorry. Those are the two central elephants there. And so, yeah, 2 from the center for Vertex, 1 from his own, and there's the other one there. So that's probably going to be 4 elephants for him. Has he spotted his gazelle? He has spotted his gazelle, so it looks like he's going to start pushing those now. And Unres, I think, was still maybe doing a little bit of scouting. Should find his other elephant now. So it's just going to be the 3 elephants for Unrestricted, which does make quite a big difference, because obviously that means he just has more food available before he starts having to commit to farms. And obviously farms have the wood cost to think about, so you want to try and eke out the food as long as possible before being forced onto those farms. And yeah, Vertex just building the storage pit up here. Sec, please. So we're probably going to have a pause, as I don't know if it's food delivery maybe. What time is it in Peru now? I guess it's a bit earlier in the day. Yeah, what time are they? Like 8 hours behind the UK? I'm not sure actually. So it's probably elephant delivery. Yeah, some extra elephants. Don't think Vertex needs some extra elephants, considering he got the better half of them there. Like so, there's that one lonely elephant that probably will likely stand the test of time for this game. So yeah, just a little bit of a pause. Hopefully it won't take too long for Vertex to rejoin us. And I think I will take this moment to say, Carver, if you are there, can you sort me out a replay package for the Popeye series versus Spirit? And that would be much appreciated. Oh, Mini Yeti literally made a zip of all the games himself. So that was, thank you for that, Yeti. Like I said, we did get to, maybe we will watch the first game of the Morik Mini Yeti series as well, just so we've got like the whole shebang there. And yeah, Morik's, good to see actually Morik's asking for some practice games earlier from today. Like I said, I wasn't around earlier today. Hopefully he will continue practicing. Like I said, he does drop to the lower bracket, so hopefully he will keep playing out from there. And it wouldn't be a Vertex series if we had some sort of, if we didn't have some sort of delay. So, like I said, hopefully this doesn't extend out too long. And I'm just trying to see if Carver is with us at the moment. Oh, he is online. I'm sure he'll sort me out. He's always working away quietly in the background, making sure everything's ticking over nicely. Maybe we'll just put the jams back on for the time being. And I guess I'll take this moment to maybe go back to the draft, just because we kind of like skimmed over that pretty quickly. So, like I said, Citadels and Oasis banned, so two very opposite maps banned there, closed in there. Oh, okay, as I say that, sounds like they've actually just restarted again, so back into the game, no time for that. I'm being tested here. My casting and streaming capabilities. Unfortunately, my skill level's pretty low, so with this may cause some issues. Unrestricted, yeah, just some of the Gazelle go down a little bit. I mean, they're still not too bad. They're still a lot better than I'd probably have the patience to do. So, not bad. Okay, I say that one is pretty bad. I will give that a low grade for that one. We'll give this sort of like a B grade, but this is I think this is a D here for this one. Meanwhile, we're just getting the Gazelle push in from Vertex, and Tool Age is already coming in for Unrestricted here. So Vertex actually adding an extra couple of villagers, and we'll see if that means that Unrestricted will be able to take advantage of him here. So, like I said, we do have both the same civs, but we already have a little bit of desync between the players. Villager is coming forward, not quite the wood yet for the barracks. So I think actually Unrestricted's not going to be able to get... Oh no, I say that. Club is already coming down. So, okay, so barracks actually already went up at home. I was going to say I was a little bit surprised that the barracks was going to be late there. But I think actually this is going to be... Ooh, is he going to just take the elephant, actually said. I was going to say this elephant's going to last the test of time, but Unrestricted decides, actually, I just want some extra food for the time being. So funnily enough, I think that villager was probably going to be like a forward archery range or something like that. But, oh, okay, stable actually. It'll be interesting, yeah, because maybe he's switched to stable because he's having to go from home now. But maybe he was going to go stable regardless. It'll be interesting. Would have been interesting to know what that villager would have done had it gone forward. But tool working coming in. And I feel like these clubbers probably aren't going to be upgraded, is my gut feeling here. Yeah, and they're just going to be used for a bit of scouting. I don't know where the other one actually is. We've got one here. Where's the other clubber? Where is that lad? I'm not seeing another blue dot on the map, so I feel like he must be at home still. But the clubbers are going to cross paths, or not. Just about miss each other, although the ruins changing hands no tip off Vertex that the restriction must be in the area. And the scout's actually going to get trapped in the walls here. There's one tile of wall for the scout to slip out of there. One elephant left for food. And like I said, I don't know where that other clubber went. There's the one clubber here. I still can't... Is it just in the barracks? Nope. I'm going to have a go club... Oh, is that it there? No, that's another scout. But the scout will easily beat clubbers. Clubbers don't get a bonus against cavalry. You have to have the axe upgrade for that bonus to come in. Plus the tool pit upgrades in. And Vertex is trying to get the walls up. Well, one thing I didn't really talk about too much was the actual maps for both players here. You can see Vertex does have this long wood line on the front that was fairly easy to wall, but that was fairly open on this south side here. Gate going to go up to try and quick wall out Unrestricted there. And, okay, so he will actually manage to keep his opponent at bay. That's the problem with the scouts is, like, if you can't get them out like literally straight away, it's very easy for your opponent to have that time to build up the walls behind. And let's have a look, see, and Unrestricted has managed to keep that idle TC down to just okay. Gate was open there, a little bit of a mistake, and Scout is going to get a couple of vill kills, so that's already pretty good value there. I presume it was going for the gate. I was like looking at the numbers up here, but yeah, 2 eco kills, already pretty good for Unrestricted here. And the scout should still be able to get a decent amount of damage in. Let's take the bowman down, but yeah, just a number of units in Vertex's favour there. Was that the other clubber there? Just chilling up the top. Was that there the whole time and I just didn't see that dot blending in? And last one of the clubbers get taken out by it. So Unrestricted going on to the Slinger now, but Vertex is already adding Slinger of his own. And this kind of looks like we're moving to that position possibly where we end up with just the Bowman Slinger combination for both players. But that said, Unrestricted still is adding in scouts for the time being, which will give him an edge in some of those engages if you can catch off a few bowmen by themselves. And yeah, looks like Unrestricted is probably going to want to take this fight here. And both players are going to need to be quite careful. Obviously the axes can get on the scouts to do a lot more damage, but then the scouts with that fast movement speed. And Unrestricted able to take out 1 bowman, but loses 2 in return. The Slinger is going to get bonked in the head. Down he goes. Woodworking is in for Unrestricted, and Watchtower as well coming up. So maybe, okay, possibly just, yeah, Unrestricted moving out the berries. Maybe the tower. Oh, I was going to say a tower here, but a tower here does defend the stone as well, which means that these villagers on the front are a little bit more vulnerable, because obviously bows can just stand here and fire at the villagers there. Scouts, like I said, just trying to find an angle to get in. Doesn't quite drop that bowman down. And this is very closely contested fight. You can see at the numbers at the top here, slight military advantage for Vertex now, but slight eco advantage for Unrestricted. These fights are very back and forth. It feels like Vertex has been getting the better of these last couple of fights, just managing to pick up a couple of units, but the scouts looming means that Vertex has to be very careful with his bows. He needs to keep those axes nearby to defend them. But yeah, just looks like full pump on the bowman for Vertex. Unrestricted, bow and slinger. I don't think he had snow mining in yet. I did see him get woodworking in. Do we have woodworking for Vertex actually? Yes, that is in now. And Vertex feeling confident enough, snow mining coming in now, to try and push forward on his opponent. Again, he is a little bit behind on eco, but if you can get a push through quite soon, then he could even that up fairly quickly. Scouts trying to go for a counter raid, but I think it's going to take them far too long to really do anything. I think Unrestricted, obviously from our God vision, I can tell that he has the eco advantage, so it's easy for me to say that he should just bring the scouts back here. But like he was slightly behind. Yeah, score flips again, slightly behind on the score. So maybe Unrestricted is feeling a little bit more forced to try and be a bit aggressive here. This is a very even game. I think this might be one of the closest games we've had so far this tournament. 18 minutes in, both players fairly evenly poised. And it's hard to call at this point who does have the edge. Like I said, the gut is to say that Unrestricted does have the edge just because of the economy. But it felt like Vertex had the pressure, although that pressure seems to have eased off slightly now. As maybe Vertex a little bit distracted. He did pull quite a few units back. But here we go, Bronze Age in for Vertex. So despite having less eco, I guess, yeah, Unrestricted's got quite a lot of wood saved up, which maybe like put him a little bit behind on food. But yeah, he's Unrestricted will be able to click bronze fairly soon. And that's actually not pretty nice clear up for Unrestricted there. I guess the other thing as well is because Unrestricted commit to scouts, they're obviously much bigger investment in terms of food. So potentially that put him a bit behind as well. But yeah, Restrict has a lot of wood, so both players could play for the Chariot Archer in the Bronze Age. Tower here is going to help out a reasonable amount, but Vertex just has a very large mass of units here, and he's just going to try and force this through. Scouts now get into the melee. Unrestricted is going to lose his scouts to the axes, but I think he's just trying to clear as many bowmen as he can for the time being. Villagers being forced to run away. Obviously, a few villagers can garrison in the tower. It does do so. So Unrestricted still hasn't lost a villager yet. But Vertex in the Bronze Age first, and I guess, yeah, cavalry coming out to the field straight away. This does mean Unrestricted can respond with camels if he does see those cavalry fairly quickly. I expect possibly, yeah, he may just go for cavalry his own, adding in these stables there. Stables are going to get spotted. Quick houses going down to prevent the follow-up from the axes, I guess. Villagers, I think that's going to be the first one going down. Okay, just manages to escape 2 HP. Still no villager kills from Vertex there. Vertex is adding in an extra TC now, so he must have put the government center down at some point during all that. And actually the wall has been broken fully on the top side. Again, quick walls coming in from Unrestricted. Just, okay, that is... I thought there was a gap for a second there, so I panicked. But there's quite a few axes, might be able to pressure onto the house. I think Unrestricted does need to finish this house. It's going to go down. And the villagers, the army from Vertex does break in. Camels and some cavalry units, but these villagers are going to be forced idle. The scout's not going to be able to do much by itself. I don't know what this villager's doing here, getting involved with the Slinger Wars. Camels coming in. But those Axe is going to do a decent amount of damage, but in the end, the bowman in to assist. And now that is finally one Vil down for Unrestricted. Both players in the Bronze Age now, and like I said, a very, very close game. And Vertex has the advantage, but there are 6 camels already for Unrestricted. Like I said, he's had that eco advantage for a decent chunk of this game. Obviously, Vertex, or now 3 TCs in fact, is going to get that villager pump going. It's a little bit throttled for food at the moment. And +4 armor for the cavalry coming in. And I think just the sheer mass of camels is going to give Unrestricted the edge he needs. You can see Vertex switching into camels of his own now. So the Shang do have the nice cavalry. They have, I think it's like 10% faster attack speed on the cavalry there, but that doesn't make them strong enough to fend off camels. I've just seen now Vertex is missing all the armor techs, and +4 armor in, and the +4 attack coming in for Unrestricted. This should be a fairly one-sided fight. Maybe Unrestricted didn't have an attack stance and hadn't actually controlled those in yet. This should be fairly one-sided Unrestricted's favour, I would think. Just because, like I said, storage pit upgrades missing for Vertex, very crucial, and also just the greater mass of camels for Unrestricted. So now it's an absolute landslide in the favour of Unrestricted on the military front. Vertex now, like I said, all those town centres already laid out. Too many villages and wood, maybe. Too much wood in the bank. But yeah, you should slap down some extra farms, and then Vertex can maybe take the lead again in terms of the eco. Nobility coming in nice and early for Unrestricted to help out those cavalry units. I think Vertex possibly may need to consider a temple in defense and maybe some priests. He has 1,000 gold, I've just noticed now, and priests would be obviously the best way to spend that gold. But yeah, breaking through the small gate take a little while, and the camels are going to come around, but I think Unrestricted probably is going to be able to get this push through. Next wave of units does have a few bowmen left over as well, which could be good for just sniping off villagers trying to repair. I think the gate is going to go down though, as medium wall wasn't researched by Vertex. I think he had the resources to research that. I think you do need some amount of food for that upgrade. I can't remember exactly. Oh, walls quickly goes up behind, but I think, yeah, there is a gap on the right side. Unrestricted just taking the fight with the camels for the time being. I think he probably should try and run in But okay, the villagers were getting a little bit caught up in the melee there. I thought maybe the villagers could have maybe put some more quick walls down. Plus 4 armor coming in for Vertex now, but only 3 camels left on the field. And like I said, was able to get a little bit of a lead on the eco, but now that's shrunk again with the additional eco kills. Unrestricted just focusing down the TC. There's only 2 villagers in this TC. But obviously that's still going to be pretty bad for Vertex. And you can just see waves and waves of cavalry coming in. Chariot Archer actually also being added in as well now. And like I said, it's been a very close back and forth. Little walls going up at the back there. Vertex trying to make himself a pocket to play in, perhaps. But I think Unrestricted is going to have enough units to just push this through. Hoplites have actually come out, but none of what are coming out, none on the field for the time being. Decent number of Chariot Archers, though, on the field already. Should be able to deal with those to some degree. Yeah, first hoplite coming out here. And also, yeah, just such a huge, massive units. Again, these hoplites don't actually have any melee upgrades, so actually a little bit squishy for hoplites. Obviously, they do have the 5 base melee armor, but against the extra +4. And I think possibly after, I was going to say after this fight, the GG may be called, but actually, Vertex doesn't wait out. And a pretty solid game from both players, but Unrestricted. I think it was actually almost the mistake from Vertex there was committing to the cavalry as his continental that is going to be the map. But it just feels like to me like you're throwing away a bit of your eco bonus there. And also like the Palmyran early game just being a little bit clumsy. I feel like in theory should make it a bit difficult for the water maps, but Unrestricted feels confident. So Palmyrans it is. I'll just make sure that's on the 1x speed. Oh, well, regular speed. But yeah, we do see Vertex on the very strong Minoans. Occasionally, what can happen on Conti is because obviously this bit of the map's just land. So what can happen is Minoans can get rushed in the early game on the Continental map, which can be a good way of just trying to stifle them out before the water aspect of the map becomes more important. Because it's normally when you get into sort of tool, the players try and get themselves walled up behind a wood line and then focus on the water side of the map at that point. And then, like, yeah, the fishing eco becomes a more important factor. Unrestricted. And recalled from Vertex, interestingly. I'm not 100% sure what that was called for. Perhaps he wasn't... trying to figure out what the reason is here. I don't think... He didn't lose a villager. Because I checked the table there. I'm not sure what the issue was there for Vertex. I don't know what he didn't like about his map. I mean, his map is fairly open, but he hadn't explored that much of it. I guess maybe that was his problem, is like, yeah, he'd explored and had only just found that wood line there, felt a bit exposed. But yeah, he hadn't done much exploration. I'm not really sure for that one. Your guess is as good as mine. But we will restart the game and hopefully hop back in fairly quickly. In fact, so quick they're already in there. I'm not used to this. Usually it takes the players a little while longer to sort out the lobbies and stuff, but we are going to get it straight into the... Hopefully this game plays out this time. And I keep pressing capture age when they're just doing the loading in. As the spectator delay ticks down for us. So we will be in right as the game... Well, I guess effectively the game is playing right now, but we have the spectator delay. So we're as live as we can be. And Vertex took a moment to actually move his villagers there. So I don't know, it was just a little delay from loading into the game. But yeah, like 3 seconds of just nothing before he actually clicked. And villagers. Okay, dock going down. Whoa! He's learned, boys and girls. Vertex building a dock instead of a storage pit on his fish. Boys and girls. Can you believe it? I'm shocked. I don't know what to say right now. I mean, yeah, he's open around his base, so yeah, like it's kind of weird because he has a lot of wood around his base, but yeah, and they're fairly tight choke points, but immediately around this base he is a lot more open. But yeah, I'm just stunned by this dock. I've seen Vertex so many times come forward here and the pit just goes down. Yeah, you could house block. Yeah, that's a good shout. But yeah, obviously that means he'll have to like do the scouting to find those wood lines. Unrestricted, on the other hand, has a very easily wallable map here. This is like, I think this is pretty much as good as it gets on Continental. You can wall over here, wall here, here and here. And then you've actually got a reasonably nice area to work with. Often people will like just hug to the water line. But I don't think Unrestricted is going to have to do that here. You could just build a pit like right here next to those gazelle, and that's going to be a very nice pit for the wood. It's quite a thick tree line, so it's going to be difficult to like range over there. But yeah, Vertex out on the water straight away. Maybe that was it. Maybe Vertex decided like he got his opening confused because he went for the granary opening before, and maybe he was like got a couple of minutes in and I was like, oh wait, I should have gone for the dock straight away. So maybe that was why he restarted. He just like was too like autopilot at the start of the game, and then was like, oh wait, actually this isn't what I was meant to do. Elephant gonna get a whack in there, but I think Vertex should be okay. But yeah, Gazelle actually being pushed by Unrestricted, that does surprise me a little bit, as I would have thought this would have been a fine spot for a storage pit. And we are just going to go for a little bit more exploration by the looks of it here. There are some extra, in fact there's loads of resources in the middle of the map on this particular spawn. How many Gazelle is that? 12. God damn. Wait, what? 3 vills ahead? Oh, well, that's because of fishing boat count, isn't it? I mean, that's Minoans for you, and also Palmyrans. So it's kind of Unrestricted effectively does have an extra 4 villages, so he's not actually that far behind. But Unrestricted is actually going to find his opponent here. Ooh. And I think he maybe has figured out that that's his opponent's gazelle. He did pull the villager back. Unrestricted is the first to click up, and it is going to be the sort of, I think 16 is fairly standard for Palmyrans. And is it going to be barracks at home? Or is it waiting for the wood to come in and then barracks forward? But yeah, Vertex obviously, as I was pointing out before, set up quite nicely on the water already. Storage pit, perhaps not in the most optimal position, but what has Vertex seen so far? He didn't really find any of his other wood lines. Like I said at the start, they are fairly far back, and yeah, barracks is going to come down now. And Unrestricted has time to just pop in a couple of clubbers, I think, before the tool age comes in. And Vertex only about a quarter of the way up, 40% now. And like I said, he does have plenty of fishing boats out, so I think a rush would have to be pretty devastating to completely knock Vertex out of the game here. But Unrestricted up much quicker than his opponent, obviously, and he's going to have axes in fairly soon. Second barracks went down just to get that axe here upgrade in, whilst the clubbers come forward, and a third barracks on the face. And Vertex didn't see the barracks box, he sees the axes coming forward, and Tool Age only just in now, so walls have not had a chance to go up. Needleworking being hurriedly researched there, and villagers being forced to run. And these axes trying to get in some slaps of the axe. This is where one of the key changes in the community patch does come into play. The villagers do move ever so slightly faster than the axes in the Tool Age now. They get that 10% movement speed boost. And I think you could argue right there that saved a lot of Vertex's villagers. Only one went down. A lot of axes in though, and houses going to be taken down, which could force Vertex to be house alone. Looks like he's doing a decent job of placing his houses quicker than they do go down. And at this spot here, Unrestricted lost his forward villager there, by the looks of it. Vertex is in the better eco position. Axis still trying to get some hits in, but Unrestricted not really done any lasting damage, I would say. I think Vertex, do they have the numbers here? Yeah, slightly in his favour in that particular area there. Obviously now they're coming together. Unrestricted should have the advantage again. I've not checked. Yeah, both have pit upgrades in. Vertex feeling forced to run. Yeah, that forward villager died, so Unrestricted doesn't have the immediate bowman response. In fact, it doesn't look like he's going for bowman at all here. Just completely committing to the axes. He's adding slingers now. Slingers only have a limited effectiveness against axes, especially before stone mining is in. Only do 1 damage a shot before stone mining is in. And like I said, Vertex has just had the fishing boats just doing their thing for some time now. So the scout ship's going to come out. I don't think Unres needs to be too worried about that. He has built a dock, and in fact he is making scout ships of his own. But like I was going to say, his base is inland enough that maybe he didn't need to worry about the water. Another big axe slapping frenzy comes down. Maybe with the additional slingers, Unres can possibly push in there. But until he gets a ranged unit down, it's quite easy for Vertex to just keep plonking down wall sections. We buffed their HP of houses, they've got 100 HP now. Before they were just paper. I think initially they were 75, so it's like a 33% improvement, which is fairly big. Good evening, Wattle. Good to see you joining in. Now Unrestricted choosing to focus down the TC. Vertex going for the barracks, but I don't think that really matters, as Unrestricted still has 2 more. The biggest problem for Unrestricted is actually the lack of food at this point. But yeah, Vertex kind of just... I mean, he's under a lot of pressure, but again, he's just had a huge advantage on the water. Sometimes there's actually a blinking light in here. Singular Axa being a nuisance hit, and I think that was needlework just being researched for Unrestricted, so 1 Axa is not going to be a problem for him there. Well, actually, 4 more eco kills. I don't see when that actually happened. Maybe that was just popping out. Big battle here going on. Favouring Unrestricted has the numbers advantage for sure. Maybe it was... Oh, okay, there we go. Scout ship in, and this is the problem of trying to just stay near the shoreline. Where are Vertex's ships? They're coming around here, so completely out of position. And now Unrestricted is getting in the damage he needed. And despite the fact that Vertex had that huge eco lead, it just didn't translate into a military advantage, I guess. And yeah, just kind of crumbled under the pressure there. That scout ship singularly wrecking a whole, but that scout ship will just jump straight to the game. Actually, looks like we're slightly behind. And Coastal is the map picked. The map picked is Coastal, which obviously is Vertex's second home map, and Vertex going with the Hittites, and Inside Out was in the map pool, which I assumed Hittites was his pick for that. I'm just going to quickly have a look back what other civs Vertex has. Because yeah, Vertex does have the Carthaginians as well, which can potentially play on this sort of map. Obviously, Hittites still have the bonus on water of the +1 range per age for their scout line. So 1 in the tool, 2 in the bronze, 3 in the Iron Age. Although in Iron Age, Hittites don't get the trireme, which kind of undoes the major part of that bonus at that point. So it's mostly strong in the Bronze Age. I say +1 range by itself is not a massive deal. In the Tool Age, it can help you win and sort of kite out closer fights, but the Hittites not having a early game eco bonus often means they have a few less ships out, so it's a little bit hard to take advantage of that bonus there. But yeah, Unrestricted on the Persians, and again I thought we had a more open map as well. I'm just going to quickly check the draft. Yeah, we had Sahara, so I was expecting Persians to be used down. Yeah, Unrestricted has the Yamato left in his civ pool, so I would have expected Yamato from Unrestricted. But again, Persians do have a water bonus of their own. They get the faster firing scout line, which I believe it's 11% faster in the Tool Age, and then it goes 11, 22, 33 as the ages go on. And one of the big improvements to the Persians in Return of Rome is they actually get ballistics in Return of Rome, whereas they don't actually get ballistics in DE. So even though theoretically their triremes are like the highest DPS triremes in the game, they can't hit anything, so it almost doesn't matter. I guess in the late game Iron Age fights where micro goes out the window a bit. But yeah, then Persians do also miss the last wood upgrade as well, so they lack that 1 range on their triremes. Elephant getting a little bit stuck in the vills there, but he's fine chilling in there for the time being. Obviously, you can't gather from an elephant at the granary, so that will be taken back to either the storage pit or the TC. Forward villagers look like, I just noticed now, looks like they just passed each other by there. They must have seen each other. I'm going back. I'm going back to check. I guess neither player noticed, is what it is, happens. They still don't have craftsmanship now, but yeah, they used to not get the wheel, which is like insane. That I can't believe, like in the original game, they thought it'd be fair to have some of the civs not have wheel. In fact, the Persians used to not get coinage, and I think they were one of the only civs to not get coinage, but they gave all the civs in the game coinage in DE, I think. But I think do they have coinage in DE? They didn't have artisanship, really? I thought everyone had the. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought everyone had artisanship. I knew they didn't get wheel, and I think Macedonians didn't get wheel either in the original version of the game. But anyway, let's focus on this game for the time being. Barracks a little bit out of position for Vertex. Unrestricted a little bit in a better spot. Yeah, he's actually found his opponent. Okay, Vertex does find Unrestricted as well now. Unrestricted is up to the Tool Age fast, which isn't surprising as the Persians, as you've got that faster working hunters. You can see a little bit less idle TC time for Unrestricted thanks to that bonus. So these clubbers are going to be a little bit faster for Unrestricted here. And this is why I feel like Hittites are a little bit more of a sketchy pick on some of the hybrid maps, because again, this is another map where you can attack on the land, and Hittites pretty poor in the early game. Kind of pretty much have to get to the Bronze Age to really get to their very powerful Chariot Arch unit to stand a chance in most games. Quick walls are coming up from Vertex here, and I think that is going to shut out the axes. The absolute power move for Unrestricted here would be just to like plant a tower down on Vertex's face here. I think he's a little bit shy on stone now, though. Yeah, he's just spent that on side slingers. Yeah, we go. We're being added in there. But both players in each other's bases. I presume needlework is probably in for both players at this point. It's usually the sensible. No needlework for Vertex just yet. Like I said, he likes to live life on the edge. But he's going to lose this villager now. It's a little bit unfortunate. So 2 villager kills to 1. And military count in the favour of Unrestricted. And actually another villager killed on the other side here. I'm not sure exactly where that villager went down. Yeah, Vertex is actually ahead on the villagers, I just noticed, despite the kill. So I guess I can't remember how many. I thought he went up on 20, so maybe he made an extra couple of villagers as he hit tool age there, unless I'm misremembering. Crocodile getting involved, but it shouldn't cause too much problem. That's just a storage pit going up. We'll be able to gather from the shorefish there, as well as the wood line later. Bowman gonna be a little bit of an issue for these axes. Stone mining, I should say, coming in for that. The slingers nice and early. I don't think woodworking was in, no, not just yet. In fact, I'm not sure if a market is even in for Vertex. I can't see one. There might be one down here. No, it's just a little bit other parts of his eco. So the stone mining slinger is going to be a pretty big threat now. And I'm just adding in a few extra houses. And what's happened to the push on the other side? These clubbers, not even AXA researched for, yeah, he got the armor, but nothing else for those clubbers. So not really going to be too much threat. Scout ship has come out for Vertex now. And Unrestricted, again, hasn't really committed to the water. He is gathering from those shorefish, but clubbers here. Let's get back to the action here. I'm just trying to get a scope of things that are going on around the map. Yeah, still only 7 military units on the field for Vertex, and 3 of them are clubbers. Got 3 bows. And this is starting to look a little bit worrisome. Watchtower is coming in. Oh, are we going to see the tower on his face? Or is this just going to be a defensive tower? A lot of vills on stone there. This makes me feel like maybe the towers will come down. Where's the forward villager gone? I don't know if we lost the forward villager. But yeah, villagers go for a run. The wall deleted as the arch range nearly went down. Vertex is going to have to delete a wall section there to let his vills through. Or he's going to start chopping wood. I guess maybe he's going to use the scout ship to help defend. Ooh, went for the quick gate. Oh no, it was just a couple of wall sections. Didn't quite get that block off in time. And slingers are actually fairly resistant to scout. Yeah, to scout ship fire. And woodworking is now tower down. A little bit late, but that does obviously deny Vertex from coming back to this part of his base. Yeah, that would have been, like I said, that would have been an absolute power. Yeah, cancel. I think that's correct. But yeah, villager forward now, and I'll shoot the tower on this side. Obviously, Vertex has shifted most of his eco. Yeah, okay, I didn't see that one. Well, but like, I wanted to see a tower here. Unrestricted, slightly spoiling the end of the game. This game is so easy. Do you realise that both of you missed each other's